here we go to the top of the 10th.
I don't think we have a name for it yet.
It's Clever and Funny People.
Yeah,
Season 10.
Yeah, we're the there's obviously no one else is as clever or funny as us.
And nobody else has made a podcast of top 5 draft picks before,
Yeah.
so
This is a entirely new thing for.
We're totally original.
Yeah. Speaking of totally, just to get some intros done, I am the #1 pick overall total dial of the Oakland A's.
nice segue.
nice.
I am the #2 overall pick, Colt Slaw to Miami Marlins.
Hi, I was the 3rd pick. I'm CJ. Your Toronto Blue Jays are definitely 2-1, and we're rolling.
I am Dan Van Dam, DBD, 4th round pick for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I'm a man. I'm 40.
Wow. I'm Copernicus Hel or Cop or Copper or whatever. I'm the 5th overall pick, not 5th round pick, for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm almost a man. I'm 37.
Almost a bad. Yeah.
Just put us in our place with our ages. We got
Yeah, we're almost there.
Close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
As our conversation before this started, me being very much a child compared to everyone else here.
that whole year younger than me. It was really...
Oh yeah. Hey, that adds weight to it. Okay. Oh god, what is this?
I don't know if I can play this and talk at the same time.
It's a.
This might be a little
am-
involved.
Wait, I'm still loading again.
Oh no. Well, we can come up with the different game. Well, for our first episode, we were kind of going to talk about our favorite parts of the league. I think, yeah, of just joining the league. Things that we've,
And...
yeah, things that we like, things that are hard to adjust to as well.
Oh.
And I guess I can start off. I've been I died. I've been enjoying the league a lot. I like Oakland a lot. I feel like I fit in too well sometimes. I died again. One thing for me that's been really hard to get used to so far, going from scouting people who are pitching for the very first time to scouting against people who have pitched in this league for since 2020 or even later. Really big change. I have not done well at all.
Yeah, you guys have been doing this too long.
Yeah, you guys need to stop playing for us.
I disagree. I think that keeping a long-term hobby like this is awesome.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah, please keep playing. But
Yeah.
I just want to be good now.
Yeah, it's not fair. No, but I've been enjoying it a lot. It's fun to watch all of the games going on at the same time too. I've been enjoying that a lot compared to only seeing 4 games at once, and now it's just you see stuff all the time. So yeah, that's my take. As I think we're 1-2 right now, and Teddy is still the only one on our team to hit a RBI. So
Oh.
it's been
Jeez.
we'll. Yeah.
You mean in this session? Because...
No, in all, we have not scored in the last 2 games. So.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been
Okay.
we've got some growing pains, but we'll find our way there.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge, I think, but it's fun. So you roll with it.
Yeah, it's been I feel like I'm starting to be able to identify okay, this pitcher's is this type of pitcher. I'm starting to figure that out sooner in the game, but I still don't feel like it's soon enough. But I mean that everything here just takes time. So
How do you feel? Do you feel so? One of the things I think we've talked about a little bit is there's this weirdo sense of like, okay, well, I was drafted first. I was drafted early. Do you feel like there was pressure on you to perform immediately, or do you think that was not?
I think I really felt that game 2 when I didn't really do much. I've hit into, I think, 3 double plays. Yeah, which is not good. But I think I know, and like I've had talks about it with some of the higher ups in Oakland, where I feel like I should be performing more, and I'm just not. And more or less what they've told me is don't like. I'm in the same situation. I'm not the only person who got drafted, and there's more people who probably feel the same way as me. And I mean, there's gonna be growing pains when you're.
I think you have 4 of them here.
Yeah. I mean, other than Slaw going off in this current game, we've all had. Oh, I got a connection error.
Same.
Okay.
We're back. No.
But we've all felt that same kind of struggle to find out. Okay, this is how I want to say this is how the professionals play, which makes me laugh. But like, this is how the people who have been around. This is what they do, and from a batter standpoint, and trying to figure out how people pitch, it's been tough, but it's fun at the same time, even if I'm not doing that well.
I think it's a really interesting point to like make the actual comparison to baseball. Like rookies who come up, the reason you remember the ones that kill it is because it's unusual. It's not normal. Yeah. More rookies come in and fail. I mean, we just saw Jackson Holliday of the Orioles, right? Come in, he's the #1 prospect in baseball, just absolutely sucks shit, and get sent back down. Jordan Walker, Cardinals, big prospect, big name. We've been waiting for him for years. Comes in, starts off kind of hot, and then now can't even hit a home run in the minors. I think he hit his first one in like 2 months just last week. Yeah. So it's really funny to hear you like start comparing, because getting good at something takes time. It does take time. It takes effort. It takes experience. So it's good to remember.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm trying not to get in my own head with this stuff because I know there was one game when I hit a double play this last game, and I felt like my whole day after that sucked. But I'm learning. I'm like, no, I just need to go. Okay, it happens. Just get prepared for the next at bat, or the next time our team's at bat.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to keep the momentum going.
You can start the game too, FYI.
I will.
Oh, there's Colt.
Yeah. If you don't keep that like positive momentum going in your head, you fall into quicksand. You spiral and you make other people's days worse. So it's like you have to come at it from an angle of toxic positivity. Otherwise, the alternative is just no fun for anyone.
Yeah, I've been trying to like it's just being like, it's like in the end, it's this game. I'm doing it as a hobby, and even so far, like I have fun when I'm like, okay, I just hit into a inning-ending double play, and to go back like the scouting and go, okay, was there something I missed that could have led to a hit, or if to not as bad of a play.
Laser?
So it is.
I would like to mention, you said toxic positivity.
Yeah.
I don't believe in toxic positivity. I believe in what my Discord bio says, which is relentless positivity.
Relentless is better, yes. Positivity shouldn't be toxic, but it's the worst coworkers I've ever had were the coworkers who come into work every day and say, "Oh, I had a miserable weekend. Today's terrible. I wish I wasn't here today." Because I feel that in my bones. I'm just trying not to say it because I don't want other people to feel it too. But the worst coworkers are the ones who always complain.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for teammates, So
Yeah,
I give up a home run, I get angry.
Play
But
this anymore because my bean is floss dancing.
I'm not having a fun time here. This is
I believe in you here.
In the game,
You
or
gotta
Watch Dan.
in the game.
In the podcast.
I would hope if
It's
you're
like,
having
I
fun, you can
hate
just hang up.
guys.
Yeah.
Dan's like, life is hard.
No. My eye-hand coordination ain't what she used to be.
I believe in you, Dan.
Old gray mare.
All right, so total to like sort of solidify your comments. You felt pressure. It's been rough. You can get in your head, but it's fun when you kind of let it go.
Yeah. I think I'm starting to learn now to let it go because I mean, everyone on our last game we had 2 hits in all, and it's like us.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, us having only 2 hits isn't something that just falls on me. It falls on all of us.
Sure.
So like we're gonna have those poor performances, and we just need to figure out what went wrong when we get in this situation. What can we do? Which my joke has been, we take our captain Mark. We take Mark's scouting and just add 400 to it, and we might have a hit. Which I've heard from his time in on Coleslaw's team that Hakuna Matata came up with a similar strategy, and it worked. So that might be what we do, or that it's something I would like to try out just for fun, but we'll see. So
You should have on your scouting sheet a history of Mark's scouting recommendations.
Mark, yeah.
Graph the average
What did
difference.
Mark say?
That-
Yeah.
Then guess
Just-
with
yeah.
that.
Well, it's so funny. I love Mark, but for like the last few weeks, every time he's been like, "All right, I'm gonna say this, and this is just my gut call," it's been like over 400 off every single time. I don't know why, or oh no, I missed this. I don't know why or how, but it's like it's a skill in itself.
See, the real skill is just you have to win the games where you only get 2 hits,
Yeah.
Right.
which is unfair to put on the pitchers. And please don't, any of the Blue Jays pitchers listening, I don't expect you to give up 2 runs every game or 1 run every game.
It's been fun to watch, like how, because I mean, just from like a batter's point of view, to hear that some pitchers are like, yeah, please take me out of the game. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for them sometimes when that happens.
Well,
You
I'll
get
give you
to a
some
point,
news.
yeah.
I was getting crushed. Obviously, everybody in here knows because I complained about it like a child. But sometimes I was getting to the point where whenever I opened up Discord, I was actually afraid to open up Discord. Cause not like a horror movie, but I was like, this has already ruined my... Because, this bad inning for me went on for like 2 days in a row, right? And so, like, every time I opened up Discord, it was just like... Because, you can tell by how many notifications you get what happened, right? So if you saw one as a pitcher, you're like, okay, well, that's an out. That's pretty good. But I opened up my notifications, I opened up the app a few times, and it was 2, 2, 2, 2. And not only did I keep 2 means there's somebody got a hit, right? Not only did that happen, but all of the hits were fucking extra base hits. It was really a nightmare. And I think Dan or Total, one of you said, but like it ruined my day. Like because I waited as a pitcher, and again I've told you all this in the chat, but this is sort of for the podcast rather. As a pitcher, if you're not a pitcher, one of the things that really sucks is you wait if you're a starter and you don't get in as a relief pitcher, you wait for 3 weeks to play. And so you're just sitting there and you're like, when can I contribute? When can I contribute? When can I contribute? And then you get in and you get wrecked and you're like, damn, am I going to have to wait another almost month to come in and try my next thing? And so like I asked to be taken out because once it stops being fun for me, then I'm defeating the purpose of the hobby. So that's
see, I never want to be pulled. Never. So my biggest downfall is definitely hubris. This last game, I love talking a lot of smack. I try to keep it toned down because I know myself and my tendencies, and I love to, poke and prod. So I've been trying to play that down a lot. Sometimes I get ahead of myself, and so far the league has been more than happy to make me pay for it. So that's a good lesson. And
I have been more than happy to make you pay for it.
Yeah, it's brutal. But
there was the fucking line that somebody said to you, Dan. Cole, what did you say? You were like, giving up another tactical home run, I see. And
so
tactical.
I was like,
absolutely.
Tactical foul.
I was like,
you'll
if
never
I were
expect
Dan,
the next
I would have
pitch
been
now.
furious.
So I don't get mad. That's one of the things is I almost rarely get mad at anything. I mean, having a kid, you have to have patience. So it's like when things go wrong, I know to breathe. And what drives me crazy is not being able to clean up my own mess of a game. So if I lead us into, a bad situation, I want to be the guy that drags us back out of it. But at the same time, we have GMs and we have captains who analyze this stuff, and they know when it's time for you to go out of the game. So yeah. I rely on them, and I'm never going to get mad at someone for pulling me because I'm not clear-headed enough to see when it's time to step away from the mound. So I just want to keep pressing. And that can lead you into trouble just as much as, any other thing. So these are lessons that we got to kind of learn as we get through the league, face more teams, especially as I face more batters and try to sort out my own stuff. It's difficult, but like I said, it's for fun. So if you're not having fun, then you got to do something different. And that may be a different style or strategy. It may be just a different way of interacting. Copernicus, what you were saying about having to wait, there's other ways you got to get involved. That's why I like doing lineup art too. So it keeps me focused.
I am getting involved, but it's not the same thing. Like for me, I do lineup art. You've seen it. I also help scout. I'm on 2 other teams. I'm on an MILR team and an MLN team. But
doing what you can.
I do get mad, and I think that's maybe our difference. Is I'm extreme. I mean, I'm not saying you're not competitive, but my competitive is ends in anger sometimes. And it's not anger as in like fury. It's anger as in, I don't know how to describe it. It's more of a disappointment that I'm like, well, now I'm just gonna have to sit and wait with it. It's sort of like it's a knowing that I'm gonna have to live in my own head. I think that's the thing.
When you are seeking your worth internally, you never want to be pulled as a pitcher because you want that next pitch to prove yourself. And then when that's over, you have to sit and dwell with it. It can make you lash out in certain ways for sure.
I don't know. I think we might have a different approach because I think we're the 2 pitchers here. For me, what you're talking about is, this is going to have a negative sound, but it's not. It's just
tell me what I'm talking about. I love it.
No. The way I'm interpreting it is a better way to say.
Yes, okay.
It's like is a self-centered approach, like the way I feel. But the problem is for me is I had my team had scored the most runs they had scored all season. I told them to keep me in, and I didn't ask to be pulled earlier than I did, and then I kept like putting them in this hole and putting them in this hole. And so I'm like, I can't keep doing that to them because they're doing the best that they can to support me. And I need to be selfless here. And I need to let somebody else come in and take over. So that was part of it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm totally altruistic because the other part of it was I'm not having fun anymore. But part of me not having fun is thinking about how you know, everybody else is playing too, you know, and so I just was like, I'm letting them down hardcore right now by not making the right decisions. I'm not having fun, so I'm not giving as much time and energy to whatever, you know, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think that was my logic, because I was like, I'm letting these dudes down, and I can't keep letting my team down, because they put a lot of faith in me by drafting me early.
Yeah, but they put faith in your character, not in your skill.
Yeah, I was about to say, if they wanted me for my skill now, ooh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm getting my ass kicked.
Every rookie is a
my batting
project.
average when I got drafted, the batting average on my draft graphic is what, like 160? Something?
Yeah.
I was 2 for 12 in college. They drafted me because I made some lineup art and I ran the scouting department for my team. And to be fair, I'm pretty sure Total did a better job of running scouting than I did.
And I have 2 hits now in all so far in MLR. Because
We also need to keep in mind, right, that by being the top 5 draft picks, and this is a little bit different in Total's case where Oakland traded up to get the first overall pick, but we're being drafted to the 5-ish worst performing teams from last season. So you have to think that the state that the teams were in terms of their ability to scout or their ability to just to perform in general, perform well and win games, wasn't all that great before we arrived. So, you know, not that they're bad teams, just that like we've been drafted to teams that maybe needed some work done in order to become winning teams.
yeah.
So yeah, like you might have a bad game, but maybe, you know, your pitching mentorship is not as good as some other teams might be. And that's just how it's going to be. And we're drafted to these teams, and we're hopefully going to make valid contributions and do well and improve the teams that we're on and become core members of these teams.
Yeah, like
Here's a question for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like in like Oakland's case, after season 8, I think there's only 4 people still left on that team. So going into season 10, this is really the second year just of this entire team, because everyone was gone. So like there's still a lot to learn about everyone there, and what attributes do we all have that help the team out. So like we're all a part of a team that is that we were more or less, we're all part of that next step for them in the league.
Here's a question for everybody, and I think that Total kind of touched on it too. Is one of the first things that, a little context here. Tampa didn't talk to me before drafting me. I know. I think people here. I actually had a little anxiety attack. I don't know. An anxiety attack's probably too hyperbolic there, but I had like I was a little anxious before the draft started because nobody had talked to me, and I didn't realize that teams were doing that. So anyway, maybe you all were able to talk to your teams about this before you were drafted. But one of the first things I asked Hannibal, who is, you know, my fearless leader of the Tampa Bay Rays, is like, what do you expect from, like, what can I do for you? What do you expect from me? And that kind of level setting was really important. And I'm wondering if you all had those conversations too with your teams.
So I want to jump in here, because this kind of goes hand in hand to one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit about, was when I entered the college league. It was early in the session, like it was right as the session began, and I started talking a lot. I basically ignored work for 2-3 weeks and just did FCB for that whole time. But it was incredible because the response was awesome. I was talking to lots of people. I was having a lot of fun. Working from home, you don't get to have daily chats and stuff, so this went well with my current activity level. So I got into it, and then all the mock drafts started coming out with my name on top of them, and I was like, I got this, it's in the bag. All right, cool. So eventually I had to pull back the throttle because I was like, I've got almost a month of work overdue, and I'm flexible in my work schedule, but not non-existent. So I had to make that switch. And right around that same time, Total started throttling up so much, and I started seeing him post everywhere. And I was like, well,
I don't know
all the
why
mock
it
drafts
happened.
still say me, but I don't know. There's a lot of competition, but it was fortunately fun competition, not like, I don't know. I didn't think it was animosity at all between like the rookies. I thought all the rookies got along really well for the most part. I wasn't privy to any sort of inter-player drama or anything like that, but when the news broke of that big blockbuster trade, I was like, you know what? Good for Total, because someone was going to get it. As long as it was, someone fun, then that's all that really mattered.
I do recall, because I started to post more and like be around more during my honeymoon, which is a weird time to do it.
Nice.
But but I do recall.
My wife really appreciates us for that one.
I think she did. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, she's glad I have a outlet for all of this baseball stuff that's not her. So so she's completely okay with it. But I recall in the FCB server seeing Dan's rank go up in like the chats for like how active people are, and in my head I was like, my goal is to fucking catch Dan by the end of our time here, and I somehow did. It was really unhealthy, but I made it.
Yeah, I was glad that I went hard and heavy early
at the start,
and then pulled back, because it gained me a ton of ground, and then I was able to sort of coast on FCB and focus on real life. And
it was. I feel like
balance.
I started to come alive during like session 2, and then session 4 I feel like was when I was at my peak, and during that time I was like, I'm exhausted. I've been doing so much, which then was when I left a bunch of servers at the same time, and Cole was like, hey, Total, we saw that you left, and I was like, oh god, everyone knows.
Because
it was so funny.
That was my play to be first overall. Was like, ooh, look at Total, leaving all these team servers. Maybe I should be the first pick.
Uh-oh. Really
See, I came from a totally different perspective on FCB, where, that was my final season during grad school, so I wasn't posting a ton at all.
Right.
But
CJ, I didn't know who you were when you got picked. I don't think I ever talked to you.
I knew of you. I had heard your name tossed around, but I was like, I don't know what team he's on.
So
I think I had sent 3 messages outside of the Texas State channel on FCB.
Wow.
So it really wasn't until like the scouts were let into the college channels, but right at that point, CJ ramped up his scouting game for Texas State. It was amazing, and so a lot of people picked up on that, even though it wasn't in the general server, those public sort of places. But he put in a ton of work, and so that was well deserved to make it into the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah, I was not expecting 3 on draft day. I was at work after finals and step outside of the area where I can't have my phone and check, and I was like, oh shit, that was a little higher than I was expecting. I was expecting somewhere around 10, but
so Copernicus, to actually answer your question, the scouts and the GMs that I spoke to, a few of them were like, we would like you, but we'd want you to play this position. And I was like, no thank you. And then there was some others where it was just, friendly chatting, because I started talking to Damme pretty early on, as like, he seemed like a good person to bounce things off of, just to learn about kind of the inner workings and the social structure of FCB. And it was sort of made inroads on a number of different teams because they all were really cool people. So I would have been happy going anywhere. I'm glad I'm in St. Louis because it's a really fun team, but there's lots of fun teams out there too, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know how many teams reached out. Oakland was the first to, which was when I was still kind of under the radar at the time. And then I had, once other teams started to reach out, I saw that like the Colts and the Blue Jays and the Rays I hadn't like seen or heard anything from them. So I reached out to them on my own, and I was like, hey, just want to know like what you guys are planning for the draft, because I'm really open to go anywhere. But I had probably like 11 or 12 teams that reached out, and a lot of them were, we want you on our team, but it's probably not going to happen. And I was seeing it when it was like someone in like the lower top 10 where like you're not going to fall down to us, and I was like, oh shit, I might be going high, because when I was first starting to join like team servers, I was joining teams in like 20 to 25, and then as the season went on, I was like, oh, I'm getting extremely known around here. So, which is then when I joined like a bunch of servers, and then I left a bunch at the same time.
I joined
I had
quite a bit at first, but I never really went to more than like 7 servers total. And there were some you go into, and it was just, I don't know. I hate to say like not a good vibe, but more like wasn't as active as some others, so there just wasn't much going on. So I didn't want to have like the odd random notification popping up, so I'd move on to another one and check that out for a little bit, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I had heard so much from the general chat that like if you are active and you're talking here, you're going to get picked in the first round. Don't worry about it. So for me, I heard that early on. I mean, it was one of the first things that people said, and Teddy would say it. You know, I was on Teddy's FCB team, and I respect Teddy a lot. He knows so much stuff, and so he said it, and I was like, I guess that's just going to happen then. Like, I guess I should just expect to be picked. I'm active. So I didn't even bother reaching out to people because nobody actually said that that's something you should do. Like, nobody mentioned it. So I didn't. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go early because I'm talking a lot. And for me, at that point, I really wanted to be good at the game. And everybody and their mom said, nobody cares about your stats in college. And, I was like, okay, that's fine if nobody else cares, but I care because I want to be... I have a leaderboard mentality. I'm like, I would like to be at the top of the leaderboards. That's just something I like about competition. And so that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to go learn as much as I can about this game and, try to do as well as I can and have good stats, because then I can be like, well, look at that. I didn't really know where the chips were going to fall. So that was my thing. And I didn't talk to anybody. I mean, nobody reached out to me. Only at the last couple days where I heard other people, like probably the people in this, like total, I think you and I were talking about it. Dan, you and I definitely talked about it. And I was like, are we supposed to be talking to people? And so I'm actually surprised I did.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was like really nervous. I was like, well, fuck me. Because I joined the Cardinals server because I really wanted to be in the Cardinals because I'm a Cardinals fan. There was something fun about going number 1 at the time. And I was like, okay, well, maybe if I'm good and I talk well, I'll do that. But like, I joined that server and I saw Dan in there, and I'm like, I'm not gonna try to keep up with that guy. I was like, I'm not going to, and I can't.
Oh so no, not Dan. Every time I feel like I saw Dan in a server, because I know, Dan, you said it earlier that it was like this like slightly like friendly competition.
Yeah.
I would see Dan and I'm like, this fucking guy's here too. God damn it. He's one step ahead of me. What am I gonna do now?
Well, I feel very close to Dan. Dan, you and I, we hit it off pretty quick. I think you and I share a lot of the same mindset. So like in my head, I I was like, I don't want to. Not only do I think I can't compete with him on sort of like the time we were putting in, but also I was like, fuck, I don't want to make that guy my competitor, because Dan and I have a lot in common, and so like like I just said, I feel very close to them. In terms of like the baseball side, in terms of, I do, yeah, I should tell you, so anyways, that was friendsies. So that was one of the things I was like trying to avoid, because again, I'm super competitive, and sometimes it's not always conducive to friendship. So I tried to back off a little bit there.
Yeah, like I had talked a lot. Like I was chatting a lot with the Texas State server, and I don't know what your experiences were like in your team servers in college, but we had really great GMs in Leo and Strawberry, and we felt like they were the cool gym teacher type of GM. So you could go talk to them, in a direct message if you had a question about or didn't quite understand like what the unspoken rules were of the server, and they were really good about sort of breaking that down. And with that inside information, I was like, I just want to talk to as many people as possible. I want to, not really show off, but I do like to show off. But I wanted to showcase like how sociable and fun I could make a chat, and I feel like I accomplished that well early on, and then I had to pull back. But at the same time, I felt good pulling back, because I was like, this allows a lot of other good people to take some microphone time and talk to these servers and teams and people too. And knowing that I had made a footprint made me feel more comfortable doing that towards the end of the FCB season as we approach the draft.
I wanted to offer a response to Cop's question as well. Like, you
Please.
didn't get contacted by teams, and I mean, I did, but I didn't really get contacted by a team I got drafted by until the day before the draft, when Dirtbag Daryl, Miami GM, sent me a message. He's like, hey, just want to let you know we're looking at taking you, second overall. I was like, oh, cool, thanks for reaching out. And that was the extent of our conversation. Like, I joined
Cool.
I joined the Miami server, right? I joined the Marlins server. The general chat in there is somewhat active, but not nearly as active as like St. Louis or Cleveland or any of the like more active teams. Like, there was a little bit of chat going on, and I participated a little bit. I was in the the main MLR server, and I was chatting over there. But the teams that contacted me were not the teams that ended up drafting me. And so yeah, like, you didn't have teams reach out, but it's just because the team that ended up picking you, that they just didn't think to reach out, I guess. Like, that they like, I don't know. I know that when I filled out a lot of the team interest surveys, and I was asked what players I thought from other teams were going to be good to draft, I know that I put your name down. So I think that maybe helped. I'm not sure, but
You put my name down?
Yeah, you and,
thanks, man.
obviously me in total. Yeah. Because I had plenty of really fun conversations with you, and I was like, well, I mean, I would want to be on a team with him, so that's I put your name down, and I think that just for whatever reason, like, maybe the Rays weren't reaching out to a lot of rookies like directly, but kind of knew what they wanted to do, and just were gonna let the chips fall where they may, I guess, But not every team did that, right? Like, the Marlins did not do that, and they still ended up picking me second. They just told me the day before that was their plan.
You're like, nice.
Oh shit. Oh, if you die, you get sent all the way down. I will,
What?
Cole. I will let you know that the reason they probably didn't reach out was because of that Oakland trade. I'm sure that screwed up a lot of boards for a few teams in the top 5.
They were
at the
probably
time.
going to pick you until that happened.
I filled out
One
every
was
single survey that got posted in that entire server.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I think I did too. It was a fun time.
It
I
was.
think I filled out surveys for people I saw in the chat, which means I didn't fill out a Ray's one. I don't think I saw a Ray in the chat.
Oh no!
In FCB. But you know, what was also kind of funny is so in my somebody was talking about who was in their GMs and stuff. We had Teddy, right? And so Teddy is for me sort of like a monolithic. You know, he's kind of his own thing, and I wouldn't call him a cool gym teacher, but he's kind of like the smartest guy in the room is sort of like how I feel about him a lot.
Yeah,
And,
I had a lot of fun combos with Teddy.
I
Great.
see it.
Yeah.
So in the Oakland server, just real quick, we've got like a trivia chat where you can post like your trivia scores. Teddy posts his each day, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? He gets like the highest scores on everything over and over again, and I'm like, dude, I feel so dumb here sometimes. Holy crap,
assume
Teddy.
that Teddy has been on and won Jeopardy, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
I'd believe it.
Well, he's hard to read, and that was difficult for me because I'm a comedian. I don't know if I'm being very funny here, but I'm a comedian outside of my real job, and but I do get paid for it, so I'm a professional comedian. So I'm like really into reading people. Like that's something I feel like I'm pretty good at. It's part of doing comedy, and like Teddy's really hard to get a read on because he stays within his character a lot. Like he's Teddy Roosevelt, which is wild.
He does. Yeah.
But I will say one of the things that was kind of hard and is that I thought, because Teddy and I were talking a lot and like we really got along in the chat, I was really hoping that Teddy would draft me, not because I wanted to be on Oakland specifically, because I like Teddy, and because he seemed like a really good mentor, and so I just wanted to like say how lucky you are. I mean, I'm lucky to have my team now too. By the way, I love Hannibal and Don Chalupa, and my entire team is great. But I was actually kind of hurt when he traded up and like he didn't pick a single person from the Okra, which is the team he was like the GM of in college. And I was like, it's not Teddy's fault, by the way. I don't blame him for this, but it was very funny being like, oh, okay, well this is how I feel about these things. And I'm getting attached to like people and sort of like having an opinion. And I think that's been.
I felt the same thing where it's like I felt like I got attached to certain like scouts and stuff, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm not gonna be able to talk to them all the time now. What am I supposed to do?
You can still talk to them. You just have
I
to
still
join
can.
the
Yeah.
server and the general chat.
I've got too many chats I'm in now.
Well, I can't do that because of the time zone thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that was part of my reason for not joining a lot of team servers to begin with, was that I miss all the activity in there, and then I have a dozen servers to check for several hundred messages, and it's just not worth it.
CJ, what has your been experience like? I feel like we've all been talking a lot. Maybe I feel like that because I have been.
Yeah, so joining MLR has been fun in a very different way than FCB was, I would say.
Yeah.
It's
it definitely is.
It's a totally different experience in the FCB, and nobody knows what they're doing. You're all figuring it out together, and then you come into this group where people have been doing this for 3-4 years. I don't remember when it was founded. But it's been interesting. Going 0 for 5 to start has not been, ideal. The Jays are supportive of it, and I've been playing. We've won both games I've played in. I think we have a total of 3 hits in those 2 games, but we've won both games. And
sometimes that's all it takes.
Yep.
Other times you play Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we have not played Pittsburgh.
Other times you play me,
Pittsburgh,
and you get a million hits.
But no, it's been a totally different experience coming in and being like, oh, in Texas State, I, made this whole scouting spreadsheet and did all of that stuff. And we come in here and, oh, there's a scouting spreadsheet that's been made for 6 years that has things I would have never even thought to check.
Yep.
And, like, how do you go from being, like, the big dogs in the small pond, you know what I mean, to...
Yep.
to being just fish in a very big pond.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I don't know, I mean, Total probably has some things to say about Oakland scouting, but I would say Miami scouting has been, at least last year, what they had access to was the Uga sheet, which I think is what your batting practice sheet is based on,
Yep.
and the Peach sheet, which a lot of teams have access to, but not every team. And I still felt like I could make contributions to those, especially the Peach sheet. The Uga sheet I have not messed with too much because it seems to be set up in a way that I don't feel like I have much to add to right now, but I was kind of inspired by the Peach scouting sheet to add some of my own stuff to it.
See, that's an
and I feel like
area.
it's been useful.
That's an area I'm severely lacking. I'm not a coder. I never have been. I mean, I've taken C++ classes in high school, but that was 2 decades ago. So I'm lucky that I'm a pitcher because I can track my own patterns well enough, but I feel left in the dust when it comes to working with sheets, interpreting the data on them, the graphs, and the Cardinals have been great in sort of getting me up to speed a little bit on that stuff, but I don't think I'm ever going to be like designing a scouting sheet. Do you know what I mean? So it's rely heavily on other people's work, and then it makes me want to find my own path without having to rely on data, and so far it's been mixed results, so it just needs to be refined more, and I think there's potential there. So
Yeah, I think since getting drafted, both Copernicus and I have taken stabs at writing code to try and predict what we should do. And I think we both failed miserably to this point.
Yeah, really sad. Really, really sad.
It turns out this is not an easy game to solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
learned how
know-
to do Python specifically to make the app. I didn't know before. So I mean, that was a lot of work to just watch it fail. It was nice because you accomplished something, but you're right. This game is hard to solve.
yeah,
Yeah, I know for me that because I'm in the same boat as you are, where or to Dan's point, where I can't code. That's just not something I do or something I would like to even learn. And so I just use whatever I have access to at the time. And for us, we have, as Copernicus knows, we have Mark's bot that he's made. And, we've got, a whole bunch of info from that and the Oakland scouting sheet. And what's been big for me is starting to learn, what the fuck am I doing? Is starting to learn, like, okay, which, what info that I've access to, whether it's like their pitch numbers, what their positive and negative deltas are, what are their favorite things to do when, like, if they have like a runner in scoring position, is I'm starting to find is that there are certain batches of info that work better in my head, where if like from just in the example, at least for now, I'm starting to learn that like I can my brain can find patterns in deltas more than it can in just the actual like pitch range itself. So I think it's, at least for me, the biggest change has been trying to find what pile of info makes the most.
I feel stronger as a batter than I do a pitcher so far because my pitching outing went pretty poorly, but my MLN numbers are really good, and like my MLR numbers are pretty good too, or MILR for batting. So part of me feels like if I can just transpose those skills better, maybe that would help my pitching. But yeah.
Yeah, there's like, to me, even because I've thrown 2 pitches in all, but it feels a lot like there are certain things you can pull from the other perspective that can help you you can pull things from a batter's point of view to better understand what the next pitch might be, or you can pull things from being a pitch to be okay, the batter might be anticipating anticipating this in this certain situation, which is so much fun, which is why I like being able to like see both sides of the ball, because I feel like I've learned so much just from that.
How much? What's our time on this so far?
We are at about an hour.
Wow, geez, that went fast.
Just about,
No.
yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, remember that thing we were talking about where we would say something funny and that would become the name of the podcast?
I don't
Yeah.
think it happened yet.
Probably
Maybe
talking about how
that
much we
will.
suck.
Yeah, wait, damn.
Damn, we all suck.
We're too serious. We're not funny enough to have
Yeah.
a podcast.
It will come.
Yeah, hopefully. I think this one's hard to be. I think this time was like our first like serious look at the league, and I think we're all just trying to get it out there. But I think once we become more comfortable, it'll be more jokey.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah, I'd agree.
the entire thing started out with me being like, man, I am fucking doing dog shit in this league right now. that was the whole start of the no, but I feel like we've learned a lot all about from our own. I like seeing the views from how you guys have felt from your other teams too, because I only know what I like. We only know about the league what we see from our own teams, which is fun.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we
I
want
mean,
to?
I think. Go ahead.
Do we want to give a little snippet of what's to come?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So we are planning to do more episodes and some topical formats where we're each going to take a look at different topics in the league or something that's been interesting to us, and we'll discuss it with the 5 members over a shorter length episode than you may be used to on the other Top 5 podcast. And we'll take our turn, each discussing a topic of our choice, and hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, because we did so good following our outline and sticking to our time limit on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did.
I mean, it was just a fun. It was a fun time the entire time. I guess. No, I'm kidding.
I forgot to start up new games while I was rambling a lot, so
That's okay. I feel. Well, I mean, look, about if you want to watch the podcast, sure, you could watch us and see all of our names and learn our profile pictures, or just turn it on in your car or at work and just. I always turn on the top 5 when I'm at work.
I'm always at work since I work from home.
Oh yeah.
Let's do some shout outs. Let's do it like let's end on some shout outs. People we think who have been there for us, or like maybe talk about our teams, or let's end on a good note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the St. Louis Cardinals for, just being as welcoming and amazing as they have been. And I know my results haven't been where I want them to be yet, but we're going to get there. I have full faith in this team.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shout out the Blue Jays in the same way. I also suck, but we're gonna get there. We're playing well so far. And also shout out Leo and Strawberry and Uga from
course, yeah.
Texas State. Yeah, Texas State was a good time, and yeah.
Leo was the best GM, and Strawberry was the best co-GM. They were awesome.
I'll shout out Franz Joseph Hyman Jr., pitcher on the Marlins, who has pitched almost a complete game shutout if Houston will swing and miss one more time. Also known as Kami Otani in Discord. Yeah, he's been amazing today, and has been making lots of jokes about how he doesn't usually get this much run support and is afraid for the rest of the season.
I'll shout out the the Okra, my college team. I think that was such a good welcome. Everybody was so close in there, so I just wanted to let you know I'm still thinking of the Okra. And then of course the Rays, Hannibal and Don and Ross and Judah and Hayden has been really great as sort of like an old grizzled veteran pitcher who's been like helping keep myself in check. Obviously, I was a total head case after my game it went poorly, so everybody there was super super cool about it, and I'm glad I'm on the Rays.
Shout out the entire UNA team. I don't think I would be here without them. They put up with me and put up with me trying to learn how to scout at the exact same time, which then led to our chat mainly being Salsa Steve and Matt on Pittsburgh being like, Total, we don't want to play you in a MLR. And I was like, oh, that's sweet, I think. That, and then shout out Oakland too, specifically when they thought there might be a chance to get me at the 6th overall pick, which then as the season led on, led to Teddy saying, I don't want to tell you to stop having fun, but it might be hard to pick you up at 6th overall. So, so awesome team. We're gonna get through our young growing pains, and here's to our entire first season, and to hopefully a lot more of us in MLR, and seeing as MLR continues to grow and expand.
Well, thanks to you boys. This has been our chat. This has been a great group.
It's a fun time.
It's interesting how we have some different perspectives on how we came into the league, and now we've been kind of united by this external force of just being grouped near each other, and it's been fun. It's been good.
We've been grouped up by this external force known as Chalk Banana, Leo, 16-bit, Stupido, Dayman. Shout out them for us to go, hey, let's do their idea too, and I can see why.
That's probably a good shout out to have.
Yeah,
you.
I can see why they're still doing. I can see why they do what they do, and just doing it for fun, because just doing this first episode now has been so much fun with you guys.
Yeah, they're amazing trailblazers. This is great.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for tuning into the first episode of whatever this will be called at some point. I'm sure who knows if we'll even have a name when this.
By the time you're listening to this, it will have a name.
Hopefully.
And if it doesn't by then, you better send us name suggestions, because we're all terrible.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting. Let's have a community source name.
Oh God.
Wait, did we just name our podcast "We're All Terrible"?
We're all terrible.
We're all terrible. That's
that'll be a dig to my right in the.
I mean, I feel like it's an episode title.
I feel like that could be. Yeah, I think if there's not a podcast name when this comes out, send all the flack to me, because I'm gonna be the one that sends the file to Chalk to put on the channel. So
I'm doing the thumbnail, and I want to put the title on the thumbnail.
Okay, well,
so also send.
We'll come up with something. We'll come up with a name at that point, hopefully.
Just shame all of us. It's not
that
on you
too.
guys.
We like it though, I think.
We could do podcast to be named later, like player to be named later.
Ugh, it's been done.
I feel like that's a Braves podcast. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Everything's been done. Why do anything?
We will. You will hear from us all in the next episode.
Adios.
Yep.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
And I have stopped recording my screen.
Oh God, how do I stop Craig?
You should just need to type in like / and then stop.
/ I think stop.